It's time!
Welcome back to the locker room. We are almost done with 15 greatest players of all time in NBA history. Today, we are going through numbers 6, 5, and 4. Numbers 3, 2, and 1 will be their own individual episodes. So after this, only 3 more episodes, and we are officially done with our first ever mini-series. Today's packed. Okay, we're going to get directly into it right after I ask you to please follow us on social media, TLR Podcast 615. That is TLR Podcast 615. Stay up to date with everything I've got going on. Enjoy exclusive content, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. If you join us on there, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, like, subscribe. It will help grow this podcast a lot faster than just by word of mouth. Even though I love the word of mouthers out there, you've done a great job so far. So let's get into a massive episode, TLR Podcast 615. So coming right out of the gate with number 6, that's right, we're going straight into it today. 6, 5, and 4, we got to get through it today because I am pumped. I'm tired of waiting myself for the top 3 greatest NBA players of all time. That's what sports is made of. These are the debates that people live for. These are the debates I love having. Is the greatest of all time, and we're almost there. We're so close to 3, 2, and 1, and I think that there's a strong argument for the guys in the top 3. We know it's Jordan, Bron, and Kareem in some sort of order, and I think every single one of those guys has a very unique way that they can claim the title of greatest of all time, so I'm ready to just start explaining why I have my top 3 where they are, but we got to get through 6, 5, and 4 today, so here we go. At number 6, the man himself, the legend, rest in peace, recently passed away, Bill Russell. Now, like I said, this is the NBA's greatest players of all time. That is why Bill Russell is not only in this list, but he's all the way up at number 6. He's kind of in a category all on his own. Bill Russell is one of those guys where, technically speaking, he is probably the greatest player of all time. It's not even close. Look at the championships. Look at the MVPs. Look at the All-NBA first-team selections, or the All-NBA selections, the All-Stars. He has more MVPs than he does All-NBA first-team selections, is what I was trying to say. Like, this guy lived in an era, though, where blocks weren't recorded. He lived in an era where rewards like Finals MVP and Defensive Players of the Years didn't even exist. So let's just say this objectively. Bill Russell probably would be the NBA's leading in blocks, and it would be so far ahead of everybody else that no one would ever catch that record. I mean, unless LeBron put his mind to it, because it seems like LeBron's the only one that can just go and break an all-time record, like the all-time scoring record that he's about to break. But we didn't record blocks. He'd probably be the all-time block leader. Finals MVPs, he would have, oh my gosh. I mean, if he has 11 NBA titles, he probably has 5 or 6 at least. That's just being conservative. I don't want to say he'll probably have 11 NBA Finals MVPs, but let's just say objectively he has 5. 5 to 6. Let's just split it, in half as much as we can. Let's just say he has 6 Finals MVPs. So he'll have 11 NBA championships, 6 Finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 11 All-NBA selections, and 12 All-Stars. This was before we even had first-team All-NBA selections really being heavily recorded because he only has technically 3 of those. So he has more MVPs than he does first-team selections. Like, this is a guy that the era does nothing to support his legacy. Because the era didn't account for all of the stuff that we include in today's game. He's second in rebounds all time, 114th in assists all time, 154th in scoring all time. It wasn't the fact that Bill Russell was just this dynamic, unstoppable, offensive machine. He was a unicorn in his day. He was insanely athletic. He could handle the ball for a big man. A great rebounder. A great defender. On defense alone, Bill Russell's right up there with the greats of all time. And that's before we even started counting blocks. So let's say Bill Russell is probably ending up first in blocks all time. Add that to the resume. Like, Bill Russell was the greatest American champion of all time. But the stats that we have, I don't think do him justice enough. And it's not saying that I think players behind Bill Russell aren't better than him, skill-wise. He just was in such a different era that it's really hard to decipher how great of a player he was. He was such a unicorn that it's almost too hard to place Bill Russell. Because you could place him all the way up at number 1, technically speaking. You know, we don't know a lot of his stats. I mean, the fact that a lot of these accolades didn't exist, like finals MVPs and Defensive Player of the Years didn't exist back then, it's too hard to place him with all these other guys. That being said, I have him at number 6, trying to be as conservative as possible. I didn't want to put him too far back, didn't want to put him too far up. I thought 6 was a very fair place to put him. Because there's no way to measure how great his career was, technically speaking. I mean, did he have the longest NBA career? No, but what he accomplished while he played is quite remarkable. No one's ever going to do it. No one ever will even get close. 6 is the only number that we're like, oh, wow, 6. Yeah, this man has 11 championships, 5 MVPs. He has more MVPs, like I said, than NBA first-team selections. He's a guy that, statistically speaking, if we accounted for all of the stats that we do today, would dominate blocks, dominate championships, dominate finals MVPs, dominate regular season MVPs. He would dominate everything, minus scoring and assists. But blocks and rebounds, both top 5. He's just a unique breed, and I don't think he gets respected enough because everybody goes, well, it's a different era. It's a different era. Well, I'm doing the greatest of all time. He was the greatest in his era at what he did. The greatest American champion, rest his soul, Bill Russell comes in at number 6. At number 5, like I said, guys and gals, we're going right into it today. I ain't slowing down today. We are so close. We are so close. Oh, we're so close. I can't tell you how pumped I am to get to the top 3. I know you're just like, yeah, Jacob, we've heard that the entire time you've been on the show today. Whew, I'm so pumped. But at number 5, Mr. Fundamental himself. A guy that finally is starting to get the eyebrow-raising respect that he deserves because his career was legendary. Took pay cuts so he could be more effective for his team, winning championships, dropping bombs late into his career. Timmy Duncan. Timmy Duncan, 5-time NBA championship winner, 3-time finals MVP, and with the guys that were on that team, that's quite remarkable that he was able to capture 3. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, the greatest 6th man off the bench of all time. James Harden would have been that if he would have stayed there, but you know, the beard got greedy. I mean, he had squads with him. Played with Kawhi Leonard. So man captures 5 NBA titles, 3 finals MVPs, and also Kawhi Leonard's finals MVP is complete and utter bullshit. And I don't mean to be so harsh, but it is. He got the finals MVP because he held LeBron to 30 points? Congratulations. He averaged 18. Any guy that wins finals MVP while recording 2 single-digit games, that's when you know the NBA is conspiring against LeBron James. Because LeBron James is the best player on the court. If we're looking at finals MVP, I don't think it should always be for the winning team. LeBron dominated every statistical category, which was never recorded in history, probably will never ever be recorded in history again unless Giannis Antetokounmpo does it. Didn't get finals MVP. They gave it to the guy that held him to an average of 30, 9, and 8 Whatever. Just saying. Moving on. We'll get to LeBron later. Stuff gets me fired up. The disrespect, though. The disrespect that we gave Timmy D, giving that finals MVP to Kawhi Leonard with his 16 points a game, 2 single-digit games, and LeBron James still popped off on him. Doesn't make any sense. 5-time NBA championship, 3-time finals MVP, 2 regular season MVPs, 10-time All-NBA first-team selections, 8 All-Defensive first-team selections. Oh my goodness, this guy. Just Mr. Fundamental on the offensive side, on the defensive side. This is the guy you want. 5th in blocks, 6th in reboundings, in rebounding. 15th in scoring and 102nd in assists. This is a guy that is top 20 in 3 major categories. Top 10 in 2 of them. A guy that has a trophy case at his house that is stacked to the brim. The most low-maintenance superstar to ever grace this earth. I mean, most people don't even realize how great Tim Duncan was. That's how quiet he is. Any guy that is as successful as Tim Duncan, let's just say it was you. Picture this. You're a top 5 NBA player of all time. You got the MVPs. You got the money. Any guy that's willing to take pay cuts towards the end of his career so he can capture another ring, so he can help his team sign better players, that in and of itself is the rarest of rare breed. You don't get guys like that anymore. You don't find superstars that are willing to make the sacrifices. The most low-maintenance guy to ever... I mean, that puts him in top 5 for me because I'm tired of these superstar divas. And I know many of you are too. You just want to grab their neck and choke them in their face. How in the hell can I live on $39 million a year? This is ridiculous. Shut up. James Harden. I just feel like he would talk like this. I think I need to get out of here. I don't like it here. This sucks. I need to get out of here. I want to go to Brooklyn. All right, great. You're at Brooklyn. I don't want to be in Brooklyn no more. Where do you want to be now? I want to go to the 76ers. Oh, my God. James, you just limped your way for the last 2 years, and now you're crying and getting out of Brooklyn? You don't find guys like Timmy Duncan. And he's so low maintenance post his career. This man can be on every TV station, can be on every podcast being like, yo, I'm the GOAT. Like, people don't talk about me. I should be up there in the top 3. Like, people don't respect me enough. He could be doing that, straight up. He's an assistant coach and helps the Spurs. Like, he is the greatest human being, the greatest superstar that you want. He's the Andrew Luck of the NBA. Andrew Luck was one of the most talented guys to ever grace a football field. Short-lived career, which is super sad. You know, but do what makes you happy. And these are guys that are the most talented guys, you know, winners, insane talents, the most low-maintenance people you ever meet. The winningest team of the century, the Spurs. I mean, they were a dynasty. I know a lot of people don't like to look at this. They were a dynasty before the Golden State Warriors. I mean, never won a Defensive Player of the Year despite making 8 first-team all-defensive selections. One of the biggest tragedies in sports history. And this is what I don't understand is why we have some guy named Chris vote for the damn Defensive NBA Player of the Year award. Or the MVP of the year is voted by, you know, morons who have a journaling degree and work for the NBA. Why do all of those people get to dictate who the greatest defensive player of the year is, who the best player in the league is? Because there's going to be biasing. There's going to be people that are working against the system. The fact that Tim Duncan doesn't have 1 Defensive Player of the Year award, yet makes 8 first-team all-defensive selections, is complete and utter travesty. That's bullcrap. Absolutely ridiculous. And we're going to talk about this with Jordan. We're going to talk about this with Kareem. We're going to talk about this with LeBron. The fact that, I mean, maybe not so Jordan because, That's everybody worshiping the ground he walks on. He was human, by the way. We'll get to that. He wasn't always 6 for 6. He played 15 seasons in the NBA, doesn't have 15 championships. Don't know if you knew that. He didn't play 6 years. Whew. I'm getting fired up. Oh, I want to get to the top 3 so bad because some of you Jordan people out there are about to get a wake-up call. And it's not that I'm disrespecting that man. That man's in the top 3. He's probably at number 1. Maybe number 3. Who knows? But it's the people that they look at Michael Jordan through these lenses and they go, oh, well, he did everything great. It's like, no, he didn't. Man got bumped out of the first round how many times? Well, he didn't have a superstar. Oh, well, neither did LeBron for a long time. And he got his ass out of the first round. Anyways, okay, we getting lit up in here. I'm getting so pumped. But that just shows the biasy and complete and utter bullcrap that is the NBA voting system. Give it to the fans. Give it to the people. You know how many Defensive Player of the Year awards LeBron should have? LeBron's a better defender than Jordan. No, he's not. Well, he's the only person that has had more game-saving defensive plays than any NBA player in history. I'm not just talking about the Andre Iguodala block. What about the Leandro Barbosa block? What about insert the Kyle Lowry block? Like, the fact that they just disrespect because of a bullcrap voting system, Timmy Duncan should have at least 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I mean, if Tim Duncan would get the respect he deserves, we're talking about Tim Duncan being in the top 3. That's not me being facetious or me just trying to start a riot or cause problems. I mean, sincerely, Tim Duncan has the opportunity, if he has a couple more accolades, if he doesn't get stiffed, to be right there neck and neck with LeBron, Michael, Kareem, Magic, Timmy. That's why the top 5 is such a heavy hitter. Spoiler alert, of course, Magic Johnson's on this list. I had someone ask me, was it last week or the week before, are you even going to include Magic Johnson? Well, duh, dummy. He's in the top 5. What do you think, he's back at 18? I have him right behind Kevin Durant and Giannis. Yes, I promise you. Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard of all time, is on this list. But you add a couple more accolades to his resume, I think he jumps Magic. And it's going to be very hard to not have a very serious discussion about LeBron, Michael, and Kareem if Timmy Duncan comes in there. It's going to be really hard. Most underrated, low-rated superstar of all time, Timmy Duncan at number 5. At number 4, I mean, I kind of already just mentioned him, Magic Johnson. Greatest point guard of all time. I mean, even though his Lakers teams had players on it that were great, Magic Johnson took no time letting them know who the sheriff was on that team. Took no time, didn't waste any time to show everybody who the best player on that team was. 5 NBA championships, 3 finals MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs. That's a big one there. It's a big one. That's a big jump. 9 All-NBA first-team selections, and then 12 All-Stars. 6th in assists, 22nd in steals, 83rd in scoring, and 142nd in rebounds. Magic Johnson is the definition of a point guard. Like, people don't understand is that basketball used to have positions. Yep. It didn't all used to be small ball chuck up 45 threes and have a big man that also chucks up 15 threes a game. There used to be positions on the court. And Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard of all time. He was the best playmaker from the position. And here's what's so crazy about Magic is Magic could adapt his game, and this is what makes the greats, right? Michael Jordans, the LeBrons. They can adapt their game for what their team needs in an individual situation. If Magic needed to be, he could be the best defender on the court. If Magic needed to be, he could be the best scorer on the court. He got you. He'd go get you 33 in a playoff game. Then the second they close out on him, he goes, well, I'm still the best passer in basketball at that time. I don't know, maybe a guy in the top 3 is the greatest NBA passer of the basketball of all time. We'll see. But at that time, Magic Johnson, greatest passer of the basketball, right behind somebody. But I mean, Magic Johnson could go be the best whatever you needed at any moment. Great defender. Could rebound. Could score. The most spectacular passer and playmaker. I mean, those are his individual accolades. Like I said, best point guard in NBA history. He led probably the greatest team in basketball history, or right close to it. I mean, he was kind of the precursor to Jordan's flashiness, right? Like Magic was a guy that when he came into the league and started doing these no looks and behind the heads and behind the backs, like that's the pizzazz and the craziness that people fell in love with Jordan for. Jordan was just doing stuff that nobody had seen in game. Jordan was coming out and with his tongue out, palming a basketball and, going up, under, and reverse over a guy that's 7'2". Well, Magic was coming down with these no looks behind the head, between the legs, and everybody's like, what in the world? Like, people were blown away with Magic. And then the funny part is Jordan came in, became the new sheriff not too long after he got into the league. But I mean, he was the human highlight reel. Like if SportsCenter had a top 10, Magic has 5 of those plays a game. But I mean, what Magic Johnson, what he had in his DNA was he was a winner. He was a go-getter. He was kind of the first glimpse. He was a micro version of Jordan. Somebody that was flashy. Somebody that had great personality. One of the biggest superstars the league had ever had their eyes on. Had great personality. Had spunk. He was witty. He was funny. But he was also an incredible basketball player. An incredible winner. What made Magic Johnson so special was not necessarily the fact that he just had star power. But it was the fact that he backed that star power up with winning. And that's what made Jordan so special. Jordan had the star power. We've seen guys come in the league that have star power, that command presence, that command eyeballs, that are fun characters to watch and listen to. But if they're not winning championships after year 4, no one gives a damn. If they're not holding a trophy or an MVP, no one cares. It's like, oh, well, he's a funny guy, but he's not that great. Magic Johnson was the beginning of what Michael Jordan would explode into. A winner, a charismatic person, a guy that could go be the best version. He's like, and this is Isaiah Thomas, the poor man's Magic Johnson, minus the passing. But Isaiah Thomas, we talked about it all the way back at number 12, I think. I'm trying to remember my list off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's number 12. But Isaiah Thomas was a guy who, in his best moments, he adapted to what they needed. And Magic Johnson was the rich man's Isaiah Thomas on steroids. There was playoff games where he scored 30 a game because they needed that for that series. And then there was playoff games where he passed 95% of the time because they needed that for the win. One of the greatest champions of all time, one of the biggest superstars of all time. Personal accolades speak for himself. He has a very great spot here at number 4. I think that's as high as he can possibly go because the guys in front of him, 1, 2, and 3, are absolutely heavy, heavy hitters. But there it is. That is today's episode. Numbers 6, 5, and 4 are in the books. Next week, the individual episodes come out. We will reveal number 3. It will be more of an elongated episode. We're just going to hyper-focus on the top 3 guys because I think they need that time. And we all know who they are, but the order, I think, might surprise many of you. I think it might surprise many of you. So just tune in. If you enjoy this series, and I know many of you have, make sure you like, share, comment with a friend. Leave a comment on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, whatever. On YouTube, thumbs it up, subscribe, like, comment. I'm getting ready to move into a brand new studio. So we're going to have a whole new setup. We're going to have video. Oh, there's so many incredible things coming along the way. It's been a fun, incredible week. And I'm just saying, you want to be a part of it now because I have a strong feeling that this is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And I appreciate all of the love and support that this has gotten. This is one of my favorite series that I've ever done. And I really appreciate the fact that people see how long I've taken on this list and put thought into. So I appreciate that. But I got to go. I got to get out of here. I got things to do. Once again, everybody, I'm Jacob Courtright, and this is The Locker Room.